The 84-year-old man accused of shooting a black teenager who went to the wrong house surrendered to police in Kansas City, Missouri Tuesday. 16-year-old Ralph Yarl was trying to pick up his twin brothers from a friend's house, but went to the wrong address. His mother spoke with Gayle King on CBS Mornings.
He was supposed to stay outside, and his brothers were supposed to run outside, get in the car, and they come home. And that was what was supposed to happen. And while he was standing there, his brothers didn't run outside, but he got a couple of bullets in his body instead of a couple of twins coming out and giving him a hug.
The suspect, Andrew Lester, bonded out of jail after being processed on 2 felony charges. Civil rights leaders are calling for hate crimes to be added to the list. Adriana Diaz has more from Kansas City.
Today, Ralph Yarl's classmates marched in solidarity and support. Ralph's mother, Cleo Nagby, says her son is recovering from being shot in the head and arm.
Mostly, he just sits there and stares, and the buckets of tears just rolls down his eyes. You can see that he's just replaying the situation over and over again.
Andrew Lester faces 2 felony counts, armed criminal action and first-degree assault. According to the criminal complaint, the 84-year-old told police he had just laid down in bed when he heard the doorbell. He picked up his gun and said he saw a black male approximately 6 feet tall at the door, telling detectives he was, quote, scared to death due to the male's size and Lester's old age. The complaint says Lester repeatedly expressed concern for the victim.
Ralph went to an address on this road. This is Northeast 115th Street, when in fact his little brothers were just a block down. You see that green street sign there? That's Northeast 115th Terrace, just about 100 yards away.
Ralph's family says as he was trying to get help, someone yelled at him to get on his knees and raise his hands.
And all we hear is a bunch of banging at our door.
In his first television interview, Zach Dovo, who lives across the street, says he and his mother went to help.
There was blood from where he was at, all the way up, all over the door.
Dovell says he is still replaying that night in his head.
You hear about these things on the news over time, and then when it really happens to you, it's a life changer.
When you have images of Ralph, what do you see?
I see fear.
You saw fear in his eyes?
I saw fear in his eyes.
And Adriana Diaz joins me now for more. Adriana, what else are we learning about Andrew Lester, if anything?
Well, John, the neighbor that we spoke to told us that Mr. Lester, seemed to keep to himself. He hadn't seen him in the neighborhood, even though that neighbor had just been there for about 6 months. But one of the things that the family and the family's attorney is really focusing on is the fact that Andrew Lester was allowed to be free for the last 5 days for the most part. He was brought in for 2 hours and then released. We're told by the family attorney that in Missouri he could have been held for 24 hours, and that didn't happen. He was allowed to be released. Then, no one knew where he was until today when he did surrender and bonded out a short time later.
And Adriana, how is the family reacting to the specific charges that have been brought against him?
I asked that question exactly, John. I said, did you want stronger charges? Did you want attempted murder charges? And the family told us that they're actually satisfied with the charges that were brought. The 2 charges are armed criminal action and first-degree assault. The mother of Ralph and his aunt spent time, along with their lawyer, with the prosecutor today to go over those charges, how the prosecutor came to that conclusion. And they told us that, after having that discussion with the prosecutor, they learned that there is no stronger sentence, that attempted murder wouldn't bring a stronger sentence than the charges that were actually brought, a maximum of life in prison. And so for that, they were satisfied that they're here and their focus is on a conviction and a sentencing, a punishment, and they're less concerned about trying to get an attempted murder charge. But one thing that I, want to clarify that Ralph's aunt told us this afternoon, she said, Ralph's height is 5'8", and in that criminal complaint, Mr. Lester said he was 6 feet tall, and that was part of why he said he felt fear for his life.
Right. Adriana Diaz in Kansas City, Missouri. Thank you.